Well, to you, the valued racing fan, welcome to our Gallop TV Preview Show for Tuesday, the 10th of October. It'll be the first Gallop TV Preview Show for the week after what was a very busy weekend at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, Turfentine and Hollywoodbets Greyville. Graham Hawkins joining us on the line as always when we preview our shows from the Western Cape. And before we get into the card, Graham, we were treated to some wonderful racing over the past weekend.
Fantastic. What a weekend for South African racing. To see Charles Dickens holding out Give Me a Prince. I always feared it would be close, but what a nice result for Charles Dickens and for Give Me a Prince. It's going to be interesting to see what Canamere has in store for Give Me a Prince. Does he revert to sprinting or does he try going the mile? That's all in the future, of course. And then in Johannesburg, what a finish between Mrs. Geriatrics and Mike de Cox filly and then Main Defender. Well, he absolutely blew them away. So it was a great weekend of top-class South African racing.
Yes, it was. And with regards to the previous show that I did with Graham on Saturday, there were some rough results on the card. And as expected, they didn't race there for 2 weeks. Graham, I just, was watching racing throughout the day. In fact, I worked at Gallop TV. Some of those quartets paid in excess of 20,000, and one quartet in particular, race number 2, paid 89,000 rand. So there was money to be made, but tough to find.
Very hard to find. We spoke about the backlog as a result of meetings being abandoned, and the fields are full. And this 10-race program that we're going to preview in a moment is no exception. So there's always the potential for upsets, and so it's not easy. But challenging cards are interesting cards. Okay,
let's get straight into it. Graham, race number 1 doesn't form part of the exotics. As Graham mentioned, there's 10 races carded, 1,000 meters, 12:10 will be the off. This is the way they're betting race number 1. Number 2 at 5-1. Number 4, Star Performer, is a 9-10 shot. Then we have money. Hollywoodbets Anti-Post, a first-timer, Greg Enyon, Richard Fourie, 7-1 into 4-1. And then they got this horse in now, but no jockey declared yet, Graham. Number 13, Great Cat, at 6-1. The right horse is on top of the betting boards, but is it the right price?
I think it's a big price. I think 9-10 is a big price. We spoke about Main Defender just a moment ago. Well, he ran third to Main Defender. This is Star Performer on debut, beaten only a length. And then, of course, he ran a close second to Sovereign State, which is a very exciting horse in the Herman Brown stable. Obviously, Star Performer has his first run here in the Western Cape. His first 2 starts were in KZN for Garth Buller, now trained by Vaughan Marshall. But really on form, I appreciate the fact that there's money coming for a first time, and Great Cat gets into the race from draw 8. Louis Mkotwa has been confirmed as the rider, but this is the nap of the day. I'm not looking to beat Star Performer. He should win this, and he should win this well.
Yeah, and you can be forgiven for saying Herman Brown, Graham, when you think of Frank Robinson, don't you?
Oh, sure, yes. How was that for a faux pas? Frank Robinson, yeah. Well done. Thanks for correcting me.
No, sure. Yeah, Star Performer, yeah, everything is clear to see. The form lines Graham touched on. And that's it. We're going to get off to a flyer. Are we going for the odds on shot? Graham thinks it's generous, 9-10. I agree with him. On to the start of the bar pot, race number 2. 1,600 meters a trip. It's for fillies and mares. How they betting? Number 1 is at 18-10. Number 2 at 6-1. 4 at 8-1. 5 at 3-1. And 22-10. Brett Crawford, Lumkotwa, on the daughter of Bold Silvano, called Lady Silvano. It is the start of the bar pot, Graham. Yeah, we often want to start off, trying to get through the first leg. Can we get through here with the minimum spend? Maybe 3 horses or even 2?
Well, I'd put in 3. My top choice would be number 1, My Flower Fate. She's done very little wrong, gets pole position and should go well. But this is a trappy little race. I would include numbers 2, Red Sash, and 5, Fun Zone as well. So first leg of the bipod, I would go with numbers 1, 2, and 5. But you also have to respect number 6, Queen of Sparta, and number 8, Lady Silvano. They're not without winning chances. My Flower Fate is better drawn than Lady Silvano. They raced against each other behind Veronica Mars last time out. So it's a trappy little heat, many with chances. But I'm going to row in with numbers 1, 2, and 5, with my top choice being My Flower Fate. This horse, Fun Zone, gives you a good run for your money every time she races, but she just doesn't know how to win.
1, 2, and 5 for Graham in the bar pot, and one would think he'll be safe. Candice Bass Robinson, Stables Red Hot, they got 2 runners. And of course, Brett Crawford, he's got the 3 runners there, numbers 2, 4, and 8. So have a look at those couplings. Race number 3, start of the place accumulator. It's over 1,400 meters. An open maiden, which means it gets tricky when it comes to how the weights are structured. How they're betting is the way you are going to be influenced here, because I think they got it right, Graham. Just 3 horses in single figures. Number 10, Vix Princess at 5-2. 11, Love Shack at 5-2. And 12, Look Forward at 9-2. You know, just with the process of elimination, Graham, if you look past these 3 runners, it's pretty hard to make a case for any of the other horses in the field.
They do stand out, but of the balance, we'll come back to those 3 horses in a moment. Simply Beautiful has cracked the inside gate on some of her best form. She could get into the action, one to consider for trifectas and quartets. Number 3, Jet Green, interesting runner that could have scope for improvement. That Go Like Flow form stood up well. And with only 52 kilograms, you mentioned an open maiden. So with 52 kilograms on the back and only having a 4th start, yeah, Jet Green might improve sufficiently also to get into the trifecta and quartet play. What Now My Gal showed some ability in KZN, but has been struggling in the last 2 starts. But yeah, it does come down to the 3 principles. And in fact, I'm going to be in the camp of number 12, Look Forward, to edge out number 11, Love Shack, and number 10, Vix Princess, but it could go either way. I think you need to include all 3 into the buy pot and the place accumulator play. So 10, 11, 12, but my top choice will be number 12, Look Forward. Long time maiden, of course, but Richard Faree takes the ride. And the 2 3-year-olds have to concede this 4-year-old daughter of Master My Fate a bit of weight, which may just give Look Forward the edge.
Yeah, I think that could be the value of those 3 horses in single figures, trading at 9-2 at the time of recording. Number 12, Look Forward. But Graham has suggested 2 nice outsiders there. We mentioned those quartets paid handsomely on Saturday. Consider including numbers 1 and 3. Then on to the pick 6, the big one. You need to get your bet on by 13:45. It's over 1,400 meters. Another open handicap. How are they betting in this race? Is it as straightforward as the previous race with the betting? Well, you make what you want of this betting, because number 5, Tambourine Man, the runner I like here with 53 kgs at 4-1. Then we go on to a 22-10 shot in number 9. Number 12 at 11-2, 13 at 6-1. And I will suggest that just keep an eye on these 2 reserve runners because they grab my attention, numbers 16 and 17. If there are any scratchings and these horses getting, those are 2 horses that I'll definitely be considering for the pick 6. How many horses would you go with in the pick 6 here, Graham? Is it safely below half the field?
Yeah, I'm going to take a chance and just go with 3 horses. I'm pretty strong on number 9, King Viserys. I think doing everything right recently. Again, Richard Faree takes the ride. Does have to concede 4 kilograms to Tambourine Man, so that should bring them pretty close together. So I think you do have to include 5 Tambourine Man and 9 King Viserys. And then, of course, if the handicappers have got their sums correct, number 12, Analytic, tops the best weighted column in this open maiden, and Donald Geersen takes a further 1.5 off the back, which puts a further clear in the best weighted column. The form is not all that great. It's a limited field, one has to say. Rainbow Colours could be an upset on some of its best form, 3rd to Kelp Forest and 2nd to Tuscan Gold. So if you're looking to include a real roughie, number 14, Rainbow Colours might fit that bill. But I would go with numbers 5, 9, and 12. Consider adding in number 14, but I'm with you. If number 16, Cosmic Rhythm, does get a run for whatever reason, then that certainly has got to come into the calculations. But my top choice, King Viserys. My second choice, Tambourine Man. At the weights, there should not be a hell of a lot to choose between them. Analytic and Rainbow Colours, best of the rest.
Well, Graham has managed to narrow it down, and that really helps reduce the spend because they are big fields, competitive racing, and if you get through with these 3 horses, I'll guarantee you the pick 6 will be paying more than 3 rand after leg number 1. Okay, on to race number 5, and this is over 1,400 meters. Graham, there is a sweetener to this jackpot pool on Tuesday, and I've often seen it, especially up in Gauteng. when they put that 250K for the valued racing fan, it gets to R1 million comfortably, and they're estimating this pool to reach R1 million rand, and this is how they're betting. Number 2, Winter Pearl. This is at 5-1. And we move along to number 4, Cal Forest, Hollywoodbets, anti-post, 11-2 into 4-1. 5 is at 11-2. Then we got number 10, Like the Clappers, at 33-10, and 11, Numzan, at 5-1. You know, watching racing over the weekend, Graham, at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, you know, in a few of the races, I don't know why it was happening the way it was, but in a few of the races, you could see horses that were poorly drawn. It was of little significance the way they ran, because they seemed to run well.
Well, the good thing is obviously the pace was on in all of those races, and when the pace is on and the field stretches out, then obviously those drawn wide have an opportunity to get one off the fence. And obviously kick on from behind, because they were going quite quickly up front. So I'm expecting no different. The track is certainly running a lot faster. The track has dried up nicely following all of the rains and the floods, etc. So I'm expecting more of the same. The pace is going to be on, and you don't necessarily have to be close up. You can run on from off the pace. We saw a couple of runners really finishing on very strongly in the closing stages. So it'll be the same sort of story at Hollywoodbets Durbanville on Tuesday. This is a limited race. You know, if you look at the form line behind questioning, precious little to choose between Kelp Forest, Like the Clappers, Numzan, Captive Moon. All of those behind questioning were closely matched. I'm in the camp of number 2, Winter Pearl. Ricky Maingard had a nice winner on Saturday with Ticket to Vegas. And maybe we can have a stable race meeting to race meeting double. I'm happy to ignore the last run, was drawn 13 out of 13 and finished under 5 lengths behind the very promising Yamadori. I'm interested in the penultimate run, beat Charlie Malone. Has had one start over the distance, won it, has won at the course, drawn gate 2. So in a funny little race, it's a class 5 low grade handicap, 1400 meters. My top choice would certainly be number 2, Winter Pearl, but you've got to consider the likes of number 4, Kelp Forest. There's been a bit of a nibble for Kelp Forest in the anti-post market. Stable companion number 7, Captive Moon, has been really disappointing, but only carries 52 and could surprise. Number 10, Like the Clappers, has been there and thereabouts and should go well again. So in narrowing it down, I would consider numbers 2, Winter Pearl, 4, Kelp Forest, 7, Captive Moon, and 10, Like the Clappers. I'm happy to sit on the fence with number 5, Whiskey Bravo. I'd like to see how the 3-year-old son of Irup goes in its first run in handicap company. And Numzan, yeah, he's got some claims, but from the worst of the draw, clearly Richard Faree is a big, significant jockey booking. But I'm happy to sit on the fence with Numzan as well.
Okay, I'm going to jot down a jackpot for the show, Graham, a jackpot 2, because that is where the action is when it comes to the size of the pool. 2, 4, 7, 10, and I'm going to include number 11 there. I'm not going to be leaving out Richard Faree the way he's going, Graham. So 2, 4, 7, 10, and 11. I'm jotting these numbers down. I'll work out the perm and I'll read it out at the end of the show. Race number 6, this is over 2,000 meters, where number 1 is at 6-1. 5 is at 5-1. I like this horse. 4-1, Katsu. It is Lucinda Woodruff and Bernard Fade Herb, drawn 6 out of 12 today, and I think that could be the big swing. Number 7 at 5-1, number 9 at 8-1, and number 12 at 5-1. Yeah, I can understand why the fixed odds betting market has got it, 4-1 the field with horses trapped there at 5-1. But I think that 4-1 against this type of field, with this horse having now a much better draw, Graham, 6 out of 12, unlike the last 2 runs, that's going to be my top choice. Katsu.
Well, we're in the same camp, so why don't we take a chance and bank a number 6, Katsu, in the jackpot. This is the second leg of the carryover jackpot. I love the fact that is going 2,000 metres. He's by Louis the King out of a Faltwood mare. He's never raced beyond 1,600 metres. His last run over 1,600 metres was very good behind Rule of Thumb, who of course continues to show good form. In that race, admittedly, he was just behind number 12, Gentleman Joe. So of course, that form does bring Gentleman Joe into the race. But the fact that Katsu is going 400 metres further. Now, his pedigree suggests he's going to love the step up in trip. Of course, the pedigree is just a guide. It doesn't always work out that way. But if he improves significantly over the extra 400 metres, then they're going to be chasing shadows in this race. And I'm pretty hot on number 6, Katsu. Of the balance, number 1, Miss New York, has got some claims. Number 7, To the Moon and Back, continues to disappoint, but could pop up at any stage. And of course, number 12, Gentleman Joe, does have a chance. Exceeder and Twice the Master to be considered for trifectas and quartets. But let's throw in with Katsu. I know our play of the day on the weekend, Celtic Chief, was a major disappointment, but we come bouncing back at least later on in the card on Saturday. Sugar Mountain and others kept us rolling. Let's go with Katsu. We're in the same camp. Let's nail our colours to the mast and bank a Katsu.
Yeah, and Rule of Thumb, you also like that. It ran second over the weekend, and that won after this race again, back-to-back, ran second. And I think it was Global Alley that came out to win from that form. Okay, nice that we got the thumbs up, the green light from Graham, because I like the source at 4-1, and we are going to banker this in jackpot 2. So it's costing us 5 rand after just 2 legs. Then we go on to race number 7. It's over 1,400 meters for fillies and mares. The betting here, number 1 is at 6-1. Number 4, 5-1. 5 is at 5-1. 7 at 7-1. And we got money here, Graham, for number 11, Nordic Quest, from 9-2 into 7-2. I haven't been giving out the replacement riders for Sean Veal because most of them are not up yet. But Graham, we wish him a speedy recovery because that was a very nasty fall over the weekend.
Was a nasty fall. It could certainly have been worse. Yes, he's had an operation to his jaw and his nose, but Sean is a tough guy. He'll come bouncing back, but we wish him a complete and speedy recovery. Now, just to be clear, race 7 is the first leg of jackpot 2. So the carryover is jackpot 1, which started in race 5. So this is the first leg of jackpot 2. But more importantly, it's leg 3 of jackpot 1, which is the carryover jackpot. And some nice 3-year-olds here, D's, including, of course, the Nordic Quest. I fancy that the 3-year-olds may come out on top. You've got to consider all of numbers 1, Glee Club. 4, Mia's Harper will run well. 5, Double Grand Slam was impressive in only its second start. Number 7, La Divina won well on debut. And, of course, number 11, Nordic Quest. My top 2 choices would be number 5, Double Grand Slam, and number 11, Nordic Quest. But if we're going to get away with Katsu as a bank in the previous race, then there's no need to go light here. So we include all of the 3-year-olds that have shown some ability, numbers 1, 4, 5, 7, and 11. If you're going to include one of the older horses, then maybe number 6, Little Miss Pink. But my top choice would be Double Grand Slam, but it's a bit of a leap of faith. They're pretty much unexposed, and they're open to any amount of improvement. So it's not easy to nail your colours to the mast yet.
Graham, just a curveball. I'm sure you'll be able to handle this one, because the last time this horse Nordic Quest, I'm talking about the Unconquerable Lady form line, the 3rd of September. I'm sure our racing fans out there that are listening in would remember that conditions got terrible at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, and then the jockeys decided to, make a decision amongst themselves on how they were going to race. When these decisions are made where you're going to stay off that inside running rail and come so wide, etc., could we follow form lines like that, Graham, or we just have to, see how it works out?
Yeah, it's difficult to know the answer to that, because obviously a lot of these horses have raced through the winter on much softer tracks. The tracks are drying out, the going is changing, and some of them would very much appreciate the faster going. Some of them would not like it. So some of the winter form is not going to stand up. But of course, Nordic Quest, that race was a different type of race. But I think that Nordic Quest has done enough to suggest that she should be on this short list and go well. And the fact that there is money for it, and the fact that Elder de Meyer and Candice Bass Robinson are in such good form, they know what they're dealing with. But Mia's Harper could still be anything. double Grand Slam, could be anything. La Divina won well on debut, albeit in a moderate lineup, and that could continue to improve. And Glee Club, Richard Faree, Greg Enion, they have a good strike rate, and Glee Club enjoys pole position, the benefit of pole position. So it's a trappy little race because they're unexposed, and who this time next year will be the best is obviously something that we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, hard luck stories for a few last time out behind Unconquerable Lady. So let's sum this up, Graham. We're doing this jackpot one, the carryover jackpot. I'm going to go with you here. How many numbers? What's our numbers?
1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 11.
1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 11. That's 2, 4, 6 runners there. I'm happy with that because there are 14 runners. And then we close off jackpot 1, the carryover jackpot in race number 8, 1,400 meters, fillies and mares. And the betting here will be number 3, Seeking Peace, 7 to 1. Number 5 is at 7 to 2. 9 is at 8 to 1. 11 at 6 to 1. 12 at 9 to 2. And then there is 13 is at 7 to 1. Yeah, this looks a bit tricky because we got recent maiden winners that are involved in the betting, how much more improvement to come from them. And then you look at a horse like Among the Clouds and she'll grab you on that post maiden run, but then you pull out that form line and you get despondent because it hasn't held up. So what do we do here, Graham?
Yeah, it's an interesting race because in the previous race, which was the Class 4 handicap for fillies mares over 1,400 meters, I was very much in the camp of the 3-year-olds. Now we have a lower division, Class 5 fillies mares over 1,400 meters, and again we have a number of really nice-looking 3-year-olds in the form of Rainbow Lorikeet, Red Moon Rising, Among the Clouds, Call Me Jetrix. But they all carry big weights and giving weight away to some hard-knocking, well-performed, battle-hardened fillies and mares. And I think they're going to have a bit of a tough task here. I like number 3, Seeking Peace. So if we were to split this field into 3-year-olds and decide which is the best of the 3-year-olds and then which is the best of the older horses, we could come somewhere close to sorting out how we're going to play the last leg. I do think that Rainbow Lorikeet is possibly the best of the 3-year-olds. Again, Elder de May has chosen to ride this over number 13, Call Me Jetrix. They both carry 60.5, so weight was not an issue for Elder de Meyer. So I'm going to take my lead from Elder and suggest that Rainbow Lorikeet is possibly the best of the 3-year-olds, but then Justin Snaith has got Red Moon Rising and Among the Clouds. And although the point you make is valid that Among the Clouds, that form line by Catalaya hasn't been franked, I think you've got to throw in Among the Clouds. So 5 Rainbow Lorikeet and Among the Clouds, number 12, as far as the 3-year-olds are concerned. And then amongst the older horses, I think you've got to include number 3, Seeking Peace, number 4, Fly to Rio, and number 9, Misty Cliffs, as well as number 14, Creme Brulee. Creme Brulee is not well drawn. Of course, Capello Mazziniani rides. But the Paul Reeves, Andy Elton combination have been in devastating form. That 80-1 debut win over the weekend. The horses are running well. Reeves has got them in a great place, so you can't leave out Creme Brulee. So those are the horses I would include into the final leg of the jackpot if you're not going the field.
I've jotted them down, Graham. 3, 4, 5. And once you said number 9, I was happy. 3, 4, 5, 9, 12, and 14. I'll give number 9 my top choice there. By the way, this horse is trading at 8 to 1. And Bernard fed her back on. He got a good feel for her at a penultimate start where she was running on from draw 10 out of 11. In fact, the last 2 runs she's had poor draws like that at around 8 to 1. So 3, 4, 5, 9, 12, and 14. So we got our jackpot, 1 gram. I'll read that out. I'll give the guys the cost of the perm. But let's move along to the last leg closing of the place accumulator and the pick 6, which is race number 9, which is 1,000 meters. Number 1 at 6 to 1. There is money, Hollywoodbets anti-post, for a filly that I think is headed for much bigger than what she has achieved this early in her career. She's carrying a big weight, 62 kgs, but Hollywoodbets, the punters have suggested 4 to 1, too generous. That has shortened into 33 to 10. Candy Town, number 6. Number 7 is at 6 to 1. 8 is at 6 to 1. And then number 9, Winter Rainfall, that has shortened into 9 to 2. There is some speed in this race, Graham, when you have a look at these runners, and it's expected. It's 1,000 meters, and you got some of them that really enjoy the sprint trip. But I think we are yet to see the best of this filly. And very interesting the way they've decided to place her to go for the hat-trick in this field, carrying 62 kgs. But I think on what I've seen to date, she can pull it off.
Well, she has to be the top choice. It's not getting any easier. 62 on her back. Palo Queen is waited to get a lot closer to her than last time when she was 2.5 lengths adrift of Candy Town. But the form speaks for itself, so you've got to make Candy Town the top choice. Now, you've got to make a call here as far as the final leg of the pick six is concerned. Do you bank a Candy Town and take your chances? Because if you don't, then there's quite a few others that you need to consider. Montalina hasn't been seen in action since June, but that form line was very, very strong. And she's changed stables in the interim. She gets the services of Richard Faree. She gets draw one. So if there's any support for Montalina, that's got to be taken seriously. Palo Queen, what you see is what you get. The form speaks for itself. She should get closer to Candy Town. Lady Lookalike can continue to improve. Interestingly, Winter Rainfall, of course, she beat Candy Town when they met on the 5th of July, but that was Candy Town's debut. Candy Town has won twice subsequently to that. Those are the principles. Lesser chances to silver screen and easy money, but Candy Town does top the list. Montalina is the one that interests me.
Okay, Graham has given you some horses to include if you're playing the pick six. My pick six is straightforward when it comes to this race meeting. Both Graham and I like Katsu. That was in race number 6. That's a banker for me, and I'm going to take a chance. And if we're running in that pick six, if I'm running that pick six, I'll be all in here with number 6, Candy Town. And then we're going to close things off with race number 10, Graham. And all things being equal, it should go off at 17:15, 5:15. It's over 1,250 meters. And this is the way they're betting. Number 1 is at 6-1. I've jotted down a betting for a horse that I think is very generously priced up. 10-1, Graham. Number 5, Tough Terrain. Number 6, Oriental Charm, is at 6-1. Then we got number 9, Teflon Man, who must have a serious winning chance here at 7-2. 11, All About Al, is at 7-1. I've jotted another horse down, Graham, that I like at 10-1. Number 12, Fort Red. And then it's double figures, the balance. Am I way off the mark with these two horses that are in double figures? Number 5, Tough Terrain, and number 12, Fort Red, both priced up at 10-1?
No, because I think this is probably the toughest race on the card. Just to note that Richard Faree has picked up the rider, number 4, Bullet. And the Lucinda Woodruff stable is going well. We do like Katsu, as you've mentioned, on this card. And Bullet, yeah, in this kind of race, this kind of class, this kind of field, he could make his presence felt. Tough Terrain, you've mentioned, hasn't run since July, but on best form can trouble him. Fort Red is very, very good. And seldom runs a bad race, so you're not way off the mark. Teflon Man is the weak market leader. What do you make of his run behind Captain Arrow? Probably 1,000 meters. You could argue a bit on the sharp side. Will prefer the 1,200 meters. And the fact that he's had a run, we know that the Canamare stable, they will improve with the benefit of the run. So maybe Teflon Man is the leading choice, but this is not a race I like. So, you know, in the last leg of Jackpot 2, it goes wide as possible. There was lots to like about Oriental Charm's first win, albeit that was at 50-1. He beat Lindbergh. Well, Lindbergh was a distant 4th over the weekend, so that wasn't franked all that strongly. And then, of course, lines crossed. Grant Van Niekerk's stats for Greg Enion, 5 wins from 17 attempts. That's a good record, and lines crossed. He's also heading in the right direction. He's drawn a gate 1. I don't like the race at all. D's, so I'd look for value here. Number 4, Bullet. Number 5, Tough Terrain. Number 12, Fort Red. But they've all got to go a little bit, I think, to beat number 9, Teflon Man, who does have a touch of class about him. A very impressive grace out of Kirari. He has a touch of class and will certainly step up off that last run. With that run behind him and going the extra 250 meters, I think we can see a much better performance from him. So they do have him to beat, but an upset cannot be ruled out.
The full field that go to post at Hollywoodbets Durbanville over 1250 is 14. If the number of scratchings required to get Moya wa La Liga in, and Garrett decides I'm going to run the horse, will that be your top choice then?
Yeah, he probably would be. Cafe Culture, who beat him last time, came out to win again. So
yes.
His form is impeccable. But, we're going to have a couple of scratchings to get Moya Walaliga's reserve 3. So perhaps it's a little optimistic to suggest we'll get him into the race. But if he does somehow get into the race, and depending on his barrier gate, then Moya Walaliga certainly will rank amongst the top choices.
Well, as Graham mentioned, it's a tough race, but when it's a tough race, that's the race you want to try and get a trifecta or quartet, because you always get a very good return on your investment if you get the numbers right, especially the horses that are paying handsomely on the tote. So I've mentioned that I'm going to jot down jackpot 2 because there is a carryover of 250,000.
Jackpot 1.
Sorry, jackpot 1. Jackpot 1. Thank you, Graham. Jackpot 1 that begins in race number 5. There is a carryover of 250,000, and that pool is 1 million. So, guys, it'll begin in race number 5. This is the Gallop TV jackpot 1, 2, 4, 7, 10, and 11 by 6, by 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 11. And we end things off with 3, 4, 5, 9, 12, and 14. And if you multiply that out, the cost is 180 Rand or 90 Rand for 50%. I like that jackpot, Graham. And thanks for your time.
Thank you, Dees. As always, a pleasure. It's not going to be easy for us at Hollywoodbets Durbanville on Tuesday. 10 well-filled fields. But let's hope that star performer gets us off to a big start.
Yeah, 9 to 10. Graham Hawkins mentioned that is generous price about a horse that will be having the first start at in the Western Cape at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, and hopefully it's a flying start because his form lines are clear to see. But thanks to Graham Hawkins, thanks to the Gallop TV team, and from myself, Dees Dana, and to you, the valued racing fan, hope you have a wonderful day playing at Hollywoodbets Durbanville, and until we meet again, you take care. Salani Gashle.